start the show, we'd like to thank our sponsors, Beef, the Beefmaster Education Endowment Fund. Thank you for everything you do for the cattle industry, this breed, and us. Thank you for supporting us. SEBA, the Southeastern Beefmaster Breeders Association. Thank you for all you're doing, especially for the Southeast, and look out for their sale every August in convention. Emmons Beefmasters, Mr. Steve and Miss Cindy needs no introduction. Thank you for what you do for the breed, and thank you for supporting us. C&M Ranches out of Kershaw, South Carolina, the Chick family. Thank you for what you all do for us. It means a lot. Lissy's Beefmasters down in Texas. Thank you to them for supporting the show. And look out for their sales, multiple sales a year, plus some frozen genetic sales. Cottage Farms Beefmasters. Thank you for supporting us, and thank you for what you do for the breed as well. Been in it 50 years, and that's saying something. Sea Shepherd Beefmasters down in Texas, thank you for supporting us. Jones Beefmasters over in Savannah, Tennessee, Mr. Clark Jones, look out for his sale every June. Has great cattle and breeds, just great stuff. Valor Cattle Company out of Georgia, thank you for supporting us, and we couldn't do it without any of you, and we really appreciate it. Welcome to Beefmaster Banner. We're your hosts, Josh Morrison and Jared Strickland. How's it going, Jared?
It's going good. Getting to enjoy a few days of colder weather here lately.
Hey, that's good. Fall's rolling around, and it's kind of hot here still from the tropics. But tonight we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna start the episode out a little bit different tonight. We're gonna welcome in Winding P Farms, the Place family. How are y'all doing?
Good. Thank you so much for having us on.
Oh, thanks for coming on. Thanks for taking time out of your evening to do so. I think we've been trying to get you on for a little while, and I think we finally wrapped y'all up. So that was good.
Yes, we're excited to be on tonight. We love the podcast, and we love everything you guys are doing for the Beefmaster breed.
Well, awesome. We really appreciate that. But before we get into all this, I think I would be remiss without mentioning the Hurricane Helene that just come through and wreaked so much havoc through Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, and our North Carolina mountains. There is just so much devastation. I can tell you, I live in one of the counties that are next to the counties that start really, really getting bad, and it is like a war zone. I mean, it's the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. And unfortunately, watching it on the news and pictures, it just does not do justice.
Yeah, it's really heartbreaking, and we definitely want to send our prayers out to those folks. And me and Josh has been kind of talking about it. We're trying to get the details together, but we're going to try to do something through the banner to do some donations through the breed, or however we want to do that. But be watching for the details coming out on that, so we can help those folks out over there. It's just a kind of like talking with Josh. It's a really unfortunate event. You take the mountains and those little towns and houses and stuff in those little valleys where there's streams and stuff, and dump 30 inches of rain on top of it. It's just tough and really surprising those folks, and it's just terrible.
Yeah, it's an absolutely terrible ordeal, and it's even down to Georgia, South Carolina. I mean, it just we talked before. I mean, we can go back and look at, especially for North Carolina. Hurricane Hugo, the wind was bad, but the rain was nothing like this. I mean, at my house, we got 10 inches, maybe a touch more, but pretty much 10 inches of rain in a day and a half. And the mountains got. They were counting rain by feet at that point during it, and during the height of it. It's absolutely amazing, and amazing is not a good word for that. It's just astonishing as to what water can do, and the towns that it has just completely wiped off the map. I mean, there's towns, Chimney Rock and others like that are just not there anymore. I mean, the buildings are gone, the houses are gone. there's just nothing.
All
Just
the
dirt.
infrastructure, gone. Just
Absolutely gone. I mean, I-40's closed down for who knows how many months now. With the road washing out there, it's and to be honest with you, Interstate 26 is gone. For those of you not familiar, 40 is pretty much the highway that connects North Carolina mountains or North Carolina with Tennessee.
yeah,
There's really no other good way to go. I mean
yeah,
that's pretty much the main highway.
that's what I was mentioning with Josh. I was like, well, how you get? It's the only time I've ever been to North Carolina is on that interstate. I mean, there's other ways to go as far as like back roads and stuff like that, but it's no way to transport anything or something like that. More like vacation areas, really.
Yeah, yeah,
So it's commerce is going to be really struggling for months to get back
yes.
to normal too.
Absolutely. And like you said, Jared, we're working on a few different things. We've got some ideas sort of in the pipeline. We're trying to work on those and we'll get the details out as soon as we are able. But I'm hoping our I'm hoping our Beefmaster family and the Beefmaster breed can come together to really help Western North Carolina out. And I mean, because we're talking years for a rebuild. And Beth, you was talking about before we started on the show. You all are used to kind of the tornadoes and stuff like that, but maybe not the tropical systems that you see on the East Coast or in the Gulf.
Sure. I mean, we being in Oklahoma are right in the middle of Tornado Alley. So we see, we've been involved with multiple tornadoes and seasons where there's mass destruction and devastation. But the one thing that I will say is anytime there's a tragedy such as that, I always am real excited to see everybody come together and, be supportive of one another. So I'm glad that you guys are going to do something with the Beefmaster breeders. I think that gives everybody an opportunity to feel like that they're helping on some level, because that is important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, unity has always got our nation and folks through some stuffs, all these things that happen. So I agree with you,
For sure.
Beth. That's always nice to see.
Absolutely, absolutely. And like I say, I mean, and like we talked before, we see hurricanes, we see tropical storms, things like that. But generally, by the time they get far enough west to get us or get the mountains, we kind of live in the foothills here. We're gonna get, you may get inches of rain, but we hardly ever get feet. I mean, never get feet of rain like we did. And the horror stories that I've been told by people that I know, some of the people that I know in the mountains that have just lost absolutely everything. It's a very humbling experience to experience something like this, and to hear the stories and to see the people. Like I told y'all, I work in sales. I sell Bobcat equipment. A lot of my customers were badly affected by this, and calling, checking on them, talking to them this week. It's absolutely heartbreaking to hear some of the stories that I've been told this week. Um, Even by people that maybe have never stepped foot in our store that's come in for supplies or resources, chainsaws, things like that. It's a very humbling experience.
Mm-hmm.
And I do want to mention, and before we get started in our show, one of our main sponsors, Valor Cattle Company, Jordan Taylor, they got hit very hard down South Georgia as well. I do know, was told that they were okay. They made it through okay. But we just need to keep everybody in our thoughts and prayers that was affected by this, no matter what state they were in. Because this was such a big storm, such a wide ranging storm. I mean, it hit all sorts of places. But kind of going into our episode tonight, we'll talk about something a little happier now.
Yeah.
uh,
Ready to move that.
Maybe start out by y'all just tell us how about your farm, your operation, and maybe where it all started for both of you growing up, or where you can go back as far as you want to, but just give us a little overview of who you are and how you came to be.
Okay, well, we are Beth and Stephen Place out of Stroud, Oklahoma. We have just a small purebred beefmaster operation here in Oklahoma. We run about 25 purebred mamas. So we're very small. We're new to the breed. We purchased our first beefmaster heifers back in 2019. And then before that, we were in the commercial cattle business. I think sometimes, most of the time, I hear, people will tell their testimony or their story, and I'm like, it always starts in the commercial world. We've always started in the commercial world, seems like. But I grew up on a red Brangus cattle ranch my whole life. So, I've been around cattle and the cattle industry basically my whole life. And then Stephen he didn't grow up on a cattle ranch or didn't have any idea what a cattle ranch even looked like. And so after we'd been married for about 10 years, we decided we'd buy a place of our own and, just went right into the commercial cattle business. And then just kind of slowly transitioned into the registered beefmaster world. We had both at one time. We were in the commercial cattle business and then kind of tried to piece together a little registered herd at the same time. And then the large drought in Oklahoma kind of forced us to reprioritize some stuff and figure out going forward, what's the most sustainable approach, to our farming operation. And we went to some field days, met some really, really good breeders, got some really good advice, and we just kind of transitioned into the registered beefmaster world.
I guess what got you interested in the beefmasters as far as what brought you to them? Was it the red Brangus eared cattle that you grew up with, or?
Well, I've always loved the red hided eared cattle, and so where we lived demographically, people would look at us like, you gotta get something else. That ain't gonna work for you. Marketability wise, you're gonna have to get some black Angus cattle and you're gonna have to do the thing. Well, my granddad always told me good cattle sell good. That's at the end of the day, good cattle sell good.
That's
so you might as well raise something you like looking at. Don't worry about what the commercial people say you got to have. Raise what you like, because good cattle sell good. And so with that being said, I've always had an eye for, red hided eared cattle, but we went ahead and did the whole commercial. I got to be careful with what I say breed wise and stuff, but
well, what were the commercial cattle?
Well, they were mostly black Baldies.
Okay.
Nothing wrong with black Baldies, is there, Jared?
Cattle.
Yeah, black Baldies good cattle. What are you talking about?
No, hey, they took good care of our family for many years, let me tell you. But the thing is, they were wonderful cattle, but we would go out, and what was so frustrating to me and Stephen both was we would go out in a commercial world and we'd look for a good commercial bull, and we had a really hard time finding somebody that could be honest and transparent in what they were raising. And that was a hard thing for us. So my dad still runs commercial cattle. Well, he got him somehow. I don't even know how it happened, but he got him some beefmaster bulls. And this is back when we were still running commercial cattle too. And with Stephen being the outstanding son-in-law he is, he'd always get the call, we're working cows, come out here, I need your help. So he'd run out there and help. And he called me one day and he said, Beth, these calves are huge. You want to see these calves your dad's got? And I thought, well, Stephen, they're probably 12-month-old calves. Because he might be saying they're 7-8 months old, but heck, they could be a year old. But we got to looking and we were like, no, these are 7 and 8 month old calves, and they're outweighing our calves by 50 to 100 pounds easy. And so we were like, what's he doing? And then we got to realizing he's running these beefmaster bulls, and he's just getting what I kind of call just free money.
Oh yeah.
Get a lot of that extra weight there. That's
Now,
you take 100 pounds. That's a lot.
And that is a lot. And I mean, if you knew the man's operation, you know that 100 pounds was, I mean, it's 100 pounds. They're gonna have to earn it because they're not getting fed the 100 pounds. He gonna graze them hard.
Yeah.
You know.
Graze them hard, run them lean, right?
Yeah. So he was getting heavier weaning weights than us, and we were like, so we gotta look at something. So then it came time to get a new commercial bull, and my dad said, just come borrow some of these bulls. Just come borrow some of my bulls. So we went out there and picked a couple bulls out and used them on our commercial cattle. Had bigger, prettier, I'd say more oomph to the calves, and we were sold. We were like, man, these calves we've used Hereford bulls, we've used Maine Anjou bulls, we've used Angus bulls, and there's nothing that we've used that has created a calf quite like that Beefmaster cross.
Well, you heard was cha-ching.
Well, and I'll tell you too, the calves were a lot calmer than his calf crop had ever been. And Stephen said, these things are like pets. You can barely get him to go down the alleyway. They won't even hardly move. And before that, he used to joke with me, bring your video camera out because we're fixing to have a rodeo. You know, some of those Brangus cows they'd get Western.
Oh, yeah.
They like to. Now I do feel like I need to give Stephen a chance to defend himself over the 7-month-old or 12-month-old conversation.
Well, no, that's not what she was meaning. I don't think by that. So her dad gives me a hard time. I think Lynn might know that they were 12, but he's telling me they're 7. You just never know with her dad. But I started paying attention, and I'm like, no, those are actually 7-month-old calves. And so we had to give it a go, and we've been hooked ever since.
Awesome.
That's great.
No, that's good stuff. That's kind of the same thing. That's actually the exact same thing that happened to Rodney and myself and I almost feel like that's what happens to a lot of people is they start realizing, man, we had actually borrowed an Angus bull from a guy and was running calves. Well, then we decided to buy this Beefmaster bull, and the next year they come along, and I mean, it's just there's no comparison. I mean, no comparison. I mean, you could put a mediocre bull, and they still outgrow a lot of that other stuff.
Yes, and let me tell you, when I tell you that my father had Beefmaster bulls, we're not talking about not all Beefmaster bulls are created equal. We all know that. But these were the lower end kind of, he wasn't going out and spending $30,000 on herd sires. We're talking about just regular, what I would call kind of run-of-the-mill Beefmaster bulls, and I just could not believe the docility. So that in turn led to me and Stephen both researching, the Beefmaster breed, got the Lassiter Philosophy of Cattle Raising book, read it front to back cover, did all the homework. And then we decided that we'd give it a go. So we bought some registered Beefmaster heifers, went out to Matheson, Colorado, met Alex Lassiter, got some foundation females from him, and then it just kind of took off from there. That's kind of just how we started in the breed. But then when we totally decided to go 100% registered, Stephen and I were on our way back from an Arkansas Beefmaster Breeders Association field day, and he got real quiet in the car on the ride home, and I was like, you're just over there in deep thought. What are you thinking? And he's like, I'm just trying to decide why we're feeding commercial cows and registered cows, and it costs us the same to run both, and the seed stock production side could be a little bit heavier return. Maybe we should focus on just the seed stock production side. And so we ran out of grass. The drought came along, sold all the commercial cattle, and went for it.
Sounds like the same conversation I've had before.
Oh, I'm
Well,
thinking we've all had
It's
that conversation.
I
Well,
think
and
I've had it
that
several
sometimes
times.
your situation, I think sometimes your situation maybe forces you into trying something that you would have probably, we would have probably drug our feet had we not have been forced by Mother Nature to say, you're out of pasture, you're going to have to make some choices.
Absolutely. Speaking of genetics and getting started, tell us some genetics you are using. Some of your, I'll carefully say your main genetics. What are, just tell us like about your bull, some of your standout cows you've got. What have you seen? I really want to know about this bull I've been seeing on Facebook.
Well, he's a doll. I'll let you know. He's got a wonderful disposition, but he's one that it's funny to me how much you really learn in the business when you get a bull and you see his calves. It really gets you excited about where you think this bull can take not just your program, but other people's program. This bull's offspring, the heifers are absolutely beautiful. And it's exciting to see, like, oh, we're moving in the right direction. We bought him as a calf, a bull calf, actually, from Jerry and Tammy Thomas. And I saw the game day bull on Facebook. You go back to Facebook, and I thought, that's a beautiful bull. I wonder if he's got any red polled calves out of him. And he's like, yeah, I got one. We bought him as a calf and developed him out. And I don't think it's like good for you and good for Steve and pat on the back. I think it was just his genetics. He really grew and he developed into a beautiful bull that we're really, really excited about.
Well, there's nothing better than starting to see offspring out of a bull, and they look like the kind that you want, especially compared to other bulls that you've had that I wouldn't say disappointed in, but not like, hey, I'm moving forward kind of deal. And once you feel like you're moving forward, it's a whole lot more exciting to go to the pasture and plan your genetics and plan your matings, because you're like, well, I think this is going to work, and you see these things work, can build off of that. So that's exciting. I'm excited for y'all to have that experience.
Thank you very much, because it's been a long time that we've been able to say, I don't know if we want to keep this one. I don't know if we want to keep this one. Now it's like, I don't want to sell her. I don't want to sell her either.
Jared, you and I've had the same conversation just a couple days ago.
We've had a lot of similar conversations. I think a lot of people have a lot of these conversations.
I think so. I really do. And I think they're going to relate a lot to a lot of these statements and questions that we're posing to each other.
So, another interesting thing about this bull is, is that we don't have, like I tell people all the time, we got, our genetics we're trying to improve over time, but it's not something that we can just go out and say, okay, this is what we have, we're wiping it out and completely starting over. So it's exciting to see on the foundation females what he's able, how much, phenotype he can add and some things. He's really changing those offspring out of those cattle, because we've had those cattle for a long time, and we've had several calf crops out of those cattle, and boy, you can sure tell the difference.
Well, good. That's it. That's exciting. I was kind of leading into that. Like, so do you got any kind of cows that you would consider what you call standout, something that you are proud of? Are you doing any donor type cow stuff, or are you just running the bulls right now?
Well, right now we're running the bull and letting him, do his due diligence. But we have had him collected at Show Me Genetics in Missouri, and so we're working on. We do have a cow that we purchased from Jerry and Tammy Thomas once again, and I hate to just keep harping on that, but everybody really needs to find a program that they want to model their self after. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like me and Stephen went down about 700 different paths to come back to the path that I was like, man, if I would have just found a program that I really, really thought a lot of, it would have been a lot of time saved. You know, but anyway, we do have a couple of females that we picked up that we're thinking about that might be a good donor, might be donor material. And so we're going to work with a little bit of embryo flushing and stuff later on. So that's something that's exciting for us because it's very new to us. It's not something that we've ever been able to do before.
Well, hang on tight. It's a wild ride.
You know?
That's what we've been told.
You're the first person that said that.
It is a wild
You
ride.
are not the first.
You ever heard
Yeah,
the saying where I was gonna say, if you ever heard the saying, you on top of the mountain in the morning and you shaking your head in disgust in the evening, it can be like that sometimes.
Mhm.
You just
It is
never know.
it is 100% absolutely the highest highs and the lowest lows.
Mm-hmm.
And
But it's
you're
fun.
you're going to Vegas too,
Oh
like
boy.
rolling the dice.
Well, that's funny that you say that because we have some friends that they do not have a farm and a ranch operation, and they do love to gamble. And they're like, man, you guys could go to the casino with us every now and then if you wanted to. And Steven's always like, ours is right out there in the pasture.
That's a true story.
Yeah, it is.
It's always
That's our
something.
gamble.
We can just see our money.
Yeah, we know where it's going at the end of the day.
You can just watch it. You watch them eat it and everything else they want to do
Yeah.
themselves. Oh man, that's
Yeah,
funny.
I've
All right.
always thought on the flushing, you get you a good cow that's proven, and you got you a good bull. As long as you have a little luck with the takes and the flushing, you'll do pretty good.
Well, I appreciate that, Jared, because it's not a familiar thing for us, and so we have to just kind of rely on, the geneticists and the people that are helping us to say this is going to work or this isn't, or you know what I mean? Like, it's really out of our expertise, I guess, if you want to call it that. So, and I told Steve, I said, I don't though want to be one of those people that in 10 years or whatever, we look back and we say, man, I really wish we would have tried that. I'm curious to know how that would have worked out for us. And I just don't want to do that.
Yeah,
No.
I understand that, and that actually, this is just a harebrained thought that comes to my mind when I've had a few conversations lately. We're talking about the consistency of the breed, and we can struggle with that because we're a composite breed, right?
Sure.
So, when you take the idea of flushing a donor cow, say, the way I look at that, and that's kind of the philosophy I'm taking with our ranch as well, is you flush one female or two that are your best cows and hope to make females out of those cows that are like her. And that way you build a herd that is consistent with those genetics. And I think if people will look at the flushing that way and take it to utilize it that way, I think that's a good way to build consistency within our breed and within our farms as well. So
Absolutely. And I mean, Steve Emmons, he preaches it. He'll tell you, find your one or two cows that are the producingest things you've got and flush the heck out of them. He said, cause that's what they've done. And they obviously have been successful for many years. But it's fun to do that. Don't let it discourage you when if you fail or if there's but if there's not a good take rate one time. I mean, there's so many variables. Jared and I, we kind of put in.
You're right. You're not gonna. There's gonna be times where it's gonna be like you can't hit a home run every time. Like
There's gonna be times that you go, why did I do this? I mean, seriously, because you may put in 20 eggs and get one.
Yeah,
you may get 20 eggs and get zero. I mean,
or you may put in 20 eggs and get 12 or 15. I mean,
right.
that's the thing. And you'll think, this is the greatest thing ever.
Yeah. But you got to look at it too. We're really messing with the way God intended things to be. Truthfully, if you want to if you want to go down that rabbit hole, I mean, it's the
sure.
truth.
Yeah, let's don't go down that rabbit hole, Josh.
And if you ever do, you mess with nature, and that's what sometimes it works and sometimes it don't. But it's all good.
Yeah.
Back on track. Just kind of wrapping up. We'll kind of combine these last two questions for you, and think we'd like to hear from both of you on these. What are some challenges you faced being newer breeders? Maybe things that you wish would have happened differently, things you wish you would have done differently. I know you've talked about a few of those things. And then what advice would you give to a new breeder that's maybe thinking about coming into the breed?
Which I was gonna give Stephen a moment to speak, because I'm always getting
Like
in
I said,
trouble.
Beth always
I'm
has
always
enough
trouble.
for all of us. She can talk and talk.
Well, that's
and
okay.
Talk.
If it's just her, it's fine too. I won't put you on the spot too bad.
No, you're good.
I'll go ahead and go first, but I think the thing that we struggled with as a new breeder is direction, probably. Like a long-term goal with some direction. And where are you going to market your cattle? And what associations are you going to be part of? And sometimes I think that information's out there, but you got to go look for it. You
Definitely got to do a lot of homework.
Yeah, you got to do your homework. And there are people out there that will help you all along the way. We have run into people, I know you've probably heard this 1,000 times, but they are some of the best people out there in this breed, and they will help you. We've been blessed to meet lots of people who've helped us with, choosing the genetics that we're looking for. I mean, I've run into people that will help you, and that you can send them a picture and they'll say, hey, this one's too tubular, she doesn't have enough bone, da-da-da. And they'll just give you an honest opinion. And I think that's where we struggled at the very beginning, is kind of finding those people that would really kind of help guide you with some direction.
Yeah, and kind of to your point, someone that will be critical with you as well. Is that kind of what you?
Yeah, because you want an honest opinion at the end of the day. And so many people, I feel like sometimes when you're a new breeder, they kind of hesitate to be a bit honest, because not intentionally maybe, but they just don't want to hurt your feelings or turn you away from the breed. And we went and bought from here and there and went to Colorado and did this, and it's almost like a rite of passage in this breed. Like, you got to go through all the trials and tribulations to figure out what you're looking for, because there's so much variation in the breed itself. I feel like sometimes, and I really just wish I had a little bit clearer guidance on what is it that you're looking for and what kind of animals do you want to raise.
Yeah, and I appreciate you bringing that up, because this is, Josh talked about, this is one reason why I really wanted y'all on here, was because obviously talking with you in the past, but getting a newer breeder on here to kind of give us more of a feel for what things we could do as other breeders to help new breeders. And like you mentioned, it's kind of hit me, talking about where do I market my cattle? And it's easy for us, or me and Josh or whatever, to say, well, go to your satellite, do this, 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 and this. But, kind of like you said, where is the right fit for me and our farm and all that? And it's not something that you can search on the internet or call one person and say, hey, I want to do this. You may want to travel or whatever, but that's something that we need to think about as a breed too, how to help people find that area to market and where they fit in. Because every satellite and association part of the breed can be different. They obviously, everybody sees the sales catalogs and all that. There's different cattle at different areas and stuff like that. So kind of like what you mentioned, find what kind of cattle you want to breed and sell, and maybe try to piece that together. But that's a really enlightening comment there, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree 100%. And what you said there's really stuck out. I mean, could we always do better helping new breeders find that? Yes. Could we always do better? The new website's great. I think that's helped a lot. That's made things a lot easier to find. I don't know everybody else's opinion, but I really like the new website. I like the way it looks. I think it's a lot easier for breeders to find resources and things like that. That was a main reason why Jared and I started this podcast as well. I mean, and not giving us any credit, but this is just another way for newer breeders or breeders in general to find out information. Having Dr. Bauer on, having different people on like that maybe know more information, even if it's just the goings ons of we talk about committee meetings and we review all that, and I think that helps. But I agree with you. I think, I mean, all your points were fantastic. As far as a piece of advice for someone brand new, just starting out, what would you give?
I would say, not to piggyback on someone else's podcast interview 3 weeks ago, but patience. I think we get in too big of a hurry. I know I did. This is a fault of my own, to be impulsive and to be in a hurry, and I want to buy something. I'm at a sale. I got money in my pocket. It's burning a hole in my pocket. But you really need to go to lots of sales, lots of meetings, lots of places where you can fellowship with other breeders, ask questions, and take your time and get you a plan, figure out what kind of cattle that you want to raise, where you're going to market those animals, who's going to be your support system, and just get you a plan in place. That would probably be my biggest piece of advice, is to just be patient and do your homework.
I like that. Be patient, do your homework. Sometimes it takes a lot of patience to do your homework too.
It does, and it's intimidating. I'm not gonna lie. Like we are in the middle of central Oklahoma. We're in the middle of Angus territory, and it's intimidating to step out of the box and try something new and not have a support system to say, hey, this can be done, you can do this. And it's intimidating for you to go to sales and ask people questions sometimes that you're like, oh, that's so and so, and they got really good cattle, and I'm a nobody, and I don't really want to go talk to them. But you have to get out of your comfort zone, and you got to go out there and ask lots of questions and take lots of notes and be patient.
Maybe even taking it one step further, before you buy your first animal, go to a handful of sales. Figure out what animals you want to buy. I mean, just like you said, you've got to figure out where you fit in. You've got to figure out what type of cattle you like and what type of cattle are going to work where you're at. And generally those run hand in hand. The type you like are generally what's going to work in your area. Sometimes that's not the case, but generally it is. And that's fantastic. Steven, I'm going to put you on the spot. Do you have anything for us?
I think she said enough.
Well, good deal. That was a really good episode. I think there's going to be a lot of folks that take something out of this. That there was so much information and real world firsthand experience from just starting in 19 and figuring out where you're at. And it sounds like you guys are on the right track. It sounds like you're on a track that you feel like is going to work for you. And that's always fun to see, is people that have a plan and are now implementing that plan. And it sounds like y'all are doing that.
And sometimes it's a slow plan, like we get everything lined up, and it just takes, life happens and things happen, and your plan takes a little bit of time. I really enjoyed listening to Bruce Robbins talk about on one of the previous episodes how he was talking about making your brand, creating your brand. And he said, we get into a hurry, and some of these outfits have been going on for 50 years. Well, new breeders, they don't always know those. At front, they don't know that it's a 50-year work in progress you're comparing yourself to,
Yeah, that can be intimidating in itself, seeing,
Yes.
but you take 50, let's say it's 50 years, so they've had 50 calf crops to get ahead of you,
Yeah.
But like he mentioned, that's where might be where you need to start out at. If you're looking to build your own herd, maybe go to the ones that have been working for that long. That way you're right there with them when you buy the offspring. So, but speaking of building a brand, so what sale y'all going to next?
To be part of, or
just
to
to show
from?
up, or whatever,
Just to
where you
surprise
gonna
us
be
and
at.
say, "Hey, we're here."
Yeah, say that way
Well,
people
I think
hunt you down.
Well, I think we'll be at
Be at OHOA this October 26th.
Okay.
Mhm.
Well,
Have to-
whoever's listening,
Make
if
sure you
you're
get an
gonna be at
autograph.
yeah, get an autograph from Steve and Beth.
My
Or they're gonna say, "There's that crazy woman run away."
my son said, "Mom, you're gonna." Sutton said, "Mom, you're gonna be famous."
Well,
I'm gonna let you know. Go ahead, guys.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna let you know your podcast is very famous at my junior high that I work at. I listen to it while I work a lot, and I'll have it on there, and I'll have junior high kids that'll come in and they'll say, "Miss Beth, are you listening to Beefmaster Banner?" I'm like, "Yes. What do you need?"
Now you need to let them listen to you. Hey, at least Jared, we're famous with some junior high schoolers. Hey, it's
That's
somebody.
There you
Yeah.
go.
We're getting somewhere.
They just don't know it better yet. No, we really appreciate y'all coming on. This was fun. It's always fun to talk to everyone that comes on here, and without all of you willing to do it, as I say all the time, we wouldn't be able to do this. So we really appreciate you coming on, taking time out of your evening to do so.
Well, we really appreciate the opportunity, and we had a great time this evening. So you guys keep up the good work.
Thank you. We will do our very best. But
Yeah. We're a lot of fun.
Yeah, but everybody keep an eye out for I guess we'll call it the disaster relief donations. We're working on that. Please keep an eye out for that on Facebook, and we'll mention it on the podcast when we're ready for that. Everybody's in our thoughts and prayers. Again, Stephen and Beth, thank y'all so much for coming on, and we'll see everybody on the next episode. Well, we want to thank everybody for listening to the Beefmaster Banner podcast. Please know that we are on Apple Podcast, Spotify, and we are on YouTube. Just search Beefmaster Banner. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. We love hearing from you, and we'll see you on the next episode. Thank you.